big explosion. It was very scary that everybody had to run out.
Now at 6, deadly chopper crash. A building jolted, flames and smoke billowing from the skyscraper, triggering emotional tremors from 9/11. News for 6 starts right now. Good evening. I'm Chuck Scarborough.
And I'm Stacey Bell in for Natalie Pascarella. That crash appears to be a tragic accident and not an act of terror. And it happened over a part of the city that is supposed to be off limits to aircraft.
Here is the latest. One person is dead, that person presumed to be the pilot. One critical question yet to be answered. What caused the crash? Mechanical failure? Loss of control in the clouds? Pilot incapacitation? According to sources, the helicopter dropped off a passenger at the 34th Street heliport on Manhattan's east side, then took off to return to its home base in Linden, New Jersey. It was in the air for about 11 minutes before it crashed onto the roof of the 54-story building at 51st Street and 7th Avenue. We have a team of reporters covering this crash. We start with News 4's Sarah Wallace. Sarah?
Well, Chuck and Stacey, traffic has been reopened here along 7th Avenue at 51st Street, but the investigation is really now just beginning into what caused a helicopter to crash onto the roof of this 54-story office building.
We got to the roof. What we saw was a debris field that was on fire.
Lieutenant Adrian Walsh with Rescue 1 was first on the scene and found this charred wreckage of a helicopter.
There wasn't many whole pieces left.
This could have been a much worse incident.
It was just around 2 o'clock this afternoon that smoke began pouring from the roof of the AXA Equitable Center building at 51st Street and 7th Avenue. People inside the building scrambled to get out, going down dozens of staircases to safety, unsure of what had just happened.
As soon as we smelled the scent of smoke, that's when people took it seriously, like, okay, let's hurry up and get downstairs.
Everyone in the stairwell was just checking the news to find out what was going on because, like I said, at a couple points in time, we were just so congested that we weren't able to actually get out fast.
While it's still unclear if the chopper crashed or caught fire during a hard landing, officials say initial reports were understandably alarming.
If you're a New Yorker, you have a level of PTSD, right, from 9/11. And I remember that morning all too well. So as soon as you hear an aircraft hit a building, I think my mind goes where every New Yorker's mind goes.
Well, fortunately, our minds did not have to go there for long. Again, investigators now looking at this as a tragic accident. Again, that helicopter taking off from the 34th Street heliport and crashing onto the roof here 11 minutes later. The NTSB is sending an investigator and should be here sometime this evening. Live from Midtown, Sarah Wallace, News 4 New York.
All right, Sarah, we're going to talk more about the response following the crash. It sparked fears in the heart of Midtown, and it sent workers running in a panic. News 4's Paisy Chang is live with that part of the story. Paisy.
Yeah, you know, Stacey, most people didn't see this helicopter crash because it was so high up in the air. But what they knew about it were the alerts that were coming over their phone and the fire trucks and the police cars that were whizzing by their buildings. Many buildings around this area were evacuated, and for many it was a scary time because no one knew what was happening. From this amateur video, you can see the smoke pouring from the top of this Midtown high-rise.
A little scary, a little too close.
The chopper on its way back to New Jersey crashed on top of this building on 7th Avenue. Employees felt the impact. Did you feel anything when the helicopter crashed?
Definitely. It felt like a small tremor, almost like a small earthquake, but no one really thought that it was an impact to the building. It just felt like maybe a couple cinder blocks had fallen next to you.
Hundreds of other employees were told to evacuate at the same time, causing some panic in the stairwell. One witness said it took a half hour for him to get to safety.
When you're on the staircase, you get in the lobby and you have people screaming at you, get outside, get outside. Now it's scary. You don't know what's going on, just go.
Other buildings in the immediate area were evacuated as well as first responders assessed what they were dealing with.
9/11, we're kind of jaded. Okay, it happens, it's an event. So we don't really think much about it and just calmly go about our business. I know it's a bizarre behavior.
New Yorkers might have been a little bit jaded, or not jaded, but they sort of take this information with a little bit of calm because, you know, we do live in New York City and so many things have happened here before. But the first responders certainly took this seriously, and so many of them appeared on 7th Avenue right in front of this building. For more on that story, we head to my colleague Mark Santia. Mark?
And Paisley, when we first arrived here on scene, it was chaos. Police weren't taking any chances, telling everyone they had to evacuate.
Everyone across the street, let's go!
Police knew a chopper crashed into a Midtown building, but they did not know the circumstances. The NYPD immediately setting up an evacuation zone.
I was just sitting there just doing my work, and all of a sudden we feel that pretty good tug. I mean, you don't feel that every day, so we felt it, and it really hit our building pretty hard.
On the 28th floor here, employees immediately knew something was wrong.
We finally got together and we said, hey, you know what? I don't feel comfortable because of 9/11. We basically just decided on our own to just leave the building. So we went to the stairwell. It took us probably about 15 minutes to make it from the 28th floor to all the way to the bottom floor.
There was a lot of people coming down the stairs, so we kind of got bottlenecked, and we were a little anxious, you know, because the company that I work for, they were in the World Trade Center when we had that, so it was like real emotional.
For others, the initial impact was frightening, but it was the long, congested exit down the stairwell that was terrifying.
I'm just like, please let me get to the bottom of the staircase because I don't want to be in a situation where the building collapses or something and I'm trapped in the building.
Back here live, you can see this is something we haven't seen in a couple hours. 6th Avenue has been reopened. All lanes of 6th right now have been reopened. You can see traffic moving pretty well actually at this time. Also, all the streets, 50th, 51st, 52nd, everything is open to pedestrians as well as vehicle traffic right now. So again, at this point, we are now seeing the rescue vehicles, police, they've cleared out the area. As of right now, 6th is reopened, streets are reopened, cars are moving, folks are walking, and things here in Midtown seemingly return back to normal. We're live in Midtown. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
All right, Mark, a far different scene than what it was earlier today. Now, we have confirmed the identity of the pilot. According to his friends, this is his picture. He was Tim McCormack, a highly trained man with decades of experience based in Linden, New Jersey. According to the airport manager there, they say he was quite experienced and must have been overwhelmed by something in that aircraft to go down like it went. Let's bring in News 4's chief investigative reporter Jonathan Dienst, who's been keeping on top of the investigation for us. John?
Now, we spoke with that airport manager who says he believes that the pilot attempted to save people by crashing on that roof and intentionally putting it down there instead of another part of the city where perhaps the damage and the casualties could have been worse. That, according to Paul Dudley, who spoke about Tim McCormack, the helicopter pilot. You saw the photo there, experienced pilot. He also worked as a firefighter in East Clinton. Friends say that he was an experienced pilot and that perhaps he got lost in the fog and in the rain, or perhaps there was some mechanical difficulty. They don't know. They are awaiting word on the investigation and what happened. The scene, a terribly sad one up top. The fire destroying the chopper, which broke into pieces. We're told McCormack never had a chance. He was killed in that crash, his body badly mangled and burned. No chance to save him, according to fire officials we spoke with. As for what he was doing flying in the rain at this time, don't know. The airport manager tells us he regularly flew Daniele Bodini. He is a former ambassador to the United Nations from Italy, who also works in a real estate business and is a wealthy gentleman. And officials briefed on the investigation say he is the man who was dropped off at the East 34th Street heliport. And then McCormack took off alone in his helicopter. A call to Bodini and his attorney were not returned this afternoon. McCormack, though, taking off along the East River and then getting disorientated or suffering some kind of mechanical problem and crashing into the rooftop of that building. That's the latest from the newsroom. Jonathan Dienst. Back to you.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Our newsroom also talking to friends of his who are shocked and at a loss for words of all of this. Thanks, Jonathan. Investigators certainly going to be taking a close look at the weather conditions at the time that this chopper went down. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Janice Huff here with a closer look at the conditions and what they were like earlier this afternoon, Janice.
Stacey, the weather was at its worst at that time of the helicopter crash. It was raining, a steady rain, and we had low ceilings. That's the base of the clouds. When you look up like a ceiling in your roof or in your room, that's the base of the clouds. Was down. It was low as 500 feet at times. And so it couldn't have been any worse for flying around, certainly reducing visibility, but also the skyscrapers, the tallest buildings in and around the region are obscured by that view. Sometimes you can't even see them when the clouds are that low. This is a top-down view of the location of the building between 7th Avenue and 6th Avenue, Avenue of the Americas, between West 51st and West 52nd Street. It's only a block and a half away from us here at 30 Rock. We did have rain in the area at the time. Yes, the rain was coming down pretty steadily. We were tracking that on Storm Tracker 4. And fortunately for now, we've seen a little bit of a break in the rain, but we're not done with all that rain yet. There's still a chance for low visibility tonight, more showers, and even some thunderstorms that could bring some heavy rain through tomorrow morning. I'll be tracking that coming up for you in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you for watching this video from NBC4 New York. You can subscribe by tapping the button below me, and on the left you can see our latest updates, investigations, and digital exclusives. We'll see you next time.